All right, now let's talk about how to make sense of your numbers. This is the last thing we're going to go over, and I could probably spend hours on this. This Facebook training. I mean, we're trying to keep this simple, and I want to go over the most fundamental, the basics, and really, I mean, if you take what I've shown you in this training so far, and this last piece that we're going to go over, if you just take that, you could actually make millions and millions and millions of dollars off of that. I'm not withholding anything from you. When I talk about, getting into our advanced training and getting into our group and our membership, I'm not withholding anything that you're going to get there that is super important. I'm not. I mean, straight up, you are getting the gold here. This is the gold. This is all that I've shown you so far in this training. This free training is everything that you need to launch winning campaigns. Okay, and this video, I'm going to show you how to make sense of your numbers so you know if you have a winning campaign. Now, to get down to the more detailed, all of the different settings, when to change this setting, when to change that setting, when to use this video, when to use that video, or all that stuff. That's great. That's how you go from a winning campaign to a multi-million-dollar business. But you don't have to have that, right? You could take winning campaigns and make some money just off of what I showed you. Okay, but if you want to have that multi-million-dollar business, and if you want to take this to the next level, then definitely get that advanced training, get into that community. Okay, but let's just go off of what we have here, making sense of your numbers. Now, I don't have a whole lot here. It's very simple. Things that I want you to understand is you're going to have to look at your numbers and make a decision for yourself if it's a campaign that you want to run, if you want to keep. Are you happy with those numbers? One person might be happy making an extra $300 a month. Another person won't be happy unless they're making an extra $300,000 a month, right? They're completely different people, and we all have the right to have what we want in life. If I'm, a stay-at-home dad and I want to provide for my family, I might just need to make an extra $1,000 a month or $500 a month, and I might be totally fine with that, right? So the campaigns I run are going to be determined based on what it is I actually want. So, and that's what makes this so easy, right? This is why you don't need all of the advanced stuff and know all of the fine details, because you just get to make the decisions for yourself. What kind of campaign do I want? What kind of money do I want to make? Now, again, sometimes that's hard to make that decision for yourself. Sometimes it is hard to understand what it is that you actually want. And so if you do get into the membership area, we talk about those things as well. We're going to talk about goals. We're going to talk about, creating a real business and branding and all that stuff. It goes way beyond Facebook ads. It's going to go deep into e-commerce as well. But, that's up to you if you want that, okay? All you need to know is, do you have a profitable campaign that is worth it for you at this time? All right. So how do you decide that? Well, let's just make an assumption. Let's just make an assumption that your winning campaign is going to have a 2% conversion rate. The reason why we chose that number is because that's standard. Sometimes you'll have a low conversion rate, like a 1% conversion rate, and you're making crazy amounts of money. I've had that for high ticket products. You're going to have a lower conversion rate. For some products, if it's a viral type product, you might have a conversion rate of 5, 6, 10, 20%, whatever. I mean, I don't really see them above like 15%. Very rare you even get them that high. Very rare you even get above a 5%. Okay, but you can. It's not impossible. Okay, but 2% is the average. It's the standard, right? And that's what you can expect to get. For most of my campaigns that I've run a ton of campaigns. I've had over a dozen campaigns that have made it into the 7 figures. I've had dozens of campaigns that have made it into the 6 figures, and dozens upon dozens that have made thousands and thousands of dollars. Okay, and from all of that, I could confidently say that 2% conversion rate is good. It's about what you want to go for and be happy. It's most likely where you're going to find yourself most of the time is around a 2% conversion rate. Okay, so with that in mind, what that means is for every 50 website visitors, that conversion rate I'm talking about when people land over on your website. So for every 50 website visitors, you're going to have 1 sale, or for every 100 visitors, you're going to have 2 sales. That's 2%, right? 2 per 100. All right, so that is just going to be a number that you're going to assume in the very beginning, because you don't know what you're going to have. You don't know what you don't know. Once you have sales, now you know what your conversion rate is, right? Once you starting getting some sales in, you're going to know that your conversion rate is a 4% or a 7% or a 1%, whatever that conversion rate is. That's where you're going to do these next pieces. Okay, but first let's assume 2%. Now a 2% conversion rate. Let's say then if we have a 2% conversion rate, and let's just assume that our cost per website visit, when we're looking at our ad results and we're looking at our reporting and we're seeing that we're getting website visits and they're going to cost us 7 cents or they're going to cost us 70 cents or they're going to cost us whatever, that is going to be the biggest determining factor of whether or not you're going to let a campaign run. If you haven't got any sales yet, all you have to go off of is your website visits and your cost per website visit, assuming that you're going to have a 2% conversion rate, right? Just assume that that's what you're going to have. All right. So in order for us to have a 2% conversion rate, let's assume we have a 2% conversion rate and our cost is 25% or 25 cents per visit. So every visitor that we send over to our website, it costs us 25 cents. That means we're going to pay about $12.50 per sale. Okay, now this is just, remember, we're just assuming this in the beginning. And when we're creating our offer, we have to keep that in mind. All right. Let's just assume that it's going to cost us 25 cents per visit. Or let's assume that it's going to cost us 12 cents per visit. We don't know. We don't even need to assume in the beginning, because right now we're actually looking, this is hindsight. We know that we're going to have, we already know that we have 25-cent visits, or we know that we have 10-cent visits, right? Because you've already ran your ads for a day. By the time you're looking at your numbers, you already ran your ads for a little bit. So you know that you have, you haven't got any sales, but you spent, $12.50 and, or maybe $10. You spent $10. But of that $10, it's costing you 25 cents per visit. Well, if you know that, or if you're assuming that you're going to have a 2% conversion rate and you've only spent $10, well, you don't know if you have a winning campaign or not, right? Because you haven't ran enough traffic. You haven't spent enough money to get that one sale, right? You haven't spent enough money to get that 2 per 100. You haven't spent enough money because it cost you 25 cents per click. And you've only spent $10, which isn't enough. I would have to do the math to know, what that would be, what the conversion rate would have to be. It'd probably have to be like a 2.5 or 2.25 or something like that in order for those numbers to work. But if we're spending 25 cents per visit and we're going to assume that we're getting a 2% conversion rate because we haven't got conversions yet, well, then we're going to assume that we have to spend $12.50, right? We already know that we're paying 25 cents per visit. Well, to get a sale, we're going to have to spend $12.50. All right. I think my math's there. You don't pick on me if my math is wrong there. You could double check my math. That's not important. The important part is that this concept is right? That, you're going to multiply your cost 25 cents by the one sale per 50 website visits. So 25 cents times 50, which I did that, and that gave me $12.50. I believe that's right. So $12.50 to get one sale, assuming we have a 2% conversion rate, right? So again, just to backtrack a little bit, if I've only spent $10, I haven't spent enough, right? Because I haven't. It's going to cost me at least $12.50 to get a sale, right? Now, let's say that we spend $10 per day. That's our budget per day, $10 per day. Well, by the end of the day one, I haven't reached my $12.50. End of day one, it's 25 cents per visit, but I haven't spent $12.50 to even get that first conversion. Do I want to do that? Well, the thing that you could ask yourself now, I got a 2% conversion rate. I'm spending $10. If I run this ad tomorrow and I'm still getting 25 cents per click, am I even going to be profitable? Is it worth spending money for a whole nother day, right? That's the question you're going to want to ask yourself. Is it worth spending money for a whole nother day? Because, what if my margins are only $10? Well, what if my margins are only $10 and I spent $10 and I didn't get a sale? Do I keep going? Well, yes and no. On day one, I would say keep spending for one more day. Keep spending for one more day because of this rule down here. Spend for one more day because you want to spend 2 times your profit margins before really making a decision. Now, if my cost was like 50 cents per website click or $1 per website click, that means it's going to cost me way too much. I mean, it's going to cost me like, way more than 2 times my profit margin to get a conversion. It's going to cost me way too much, right? Because it's costing me way too much on the front end on the website clicks, which means it's going to cost me, if I need 50 website clicks and I'm paying $1 per click, that means it's going to cost me $50 to get a conversion. And I only got a $10 margin. I don't need to spend an extra day of ads. I don't need to go an extra day. I could cut it off right there because I know there's no way it's ever going to work. And it's just not going to work. I'm spending way too much per visit. And that's when I got to go back to the drawing board and adjust my product, or my promotion. That's where that comes into play. I go back and adjust one of those things. However, if I spent $10 a day and my profit margin is 10, well, I probably want to run an extra day, because I'm close. I'm so close. And even though it's $250, what if I just go the next day and I get 2 sales? The next day comes along, I spend another $10 and I get 2 sales. Well, now I'm right there at breaking even. And I'm like, okay, well, am I profitable or am I not? It really comes down to a few different things. One is, do you want to take a chance and run it another day and see if the cost comes down? Do you want to go in and adjust your audience a little bit and, see if you could bring the cost down there? Do you want to actually do something, or do you want to let it wait? That is going to be up to your judgment. There's no way to know that, to give you a general rule on that. You're going to have to look at your campaign, and over time, with experience, you'll know. Okay, you'll be able to know your niche. You'll be able to know your audience. You'll know what to do. But in the beginning, I'm going to give you a hard rule. I'm going to say that never spend over 2 times your profit margin to get profitable. Okay, to get profitable. So if my profit margin is $10 and I spend $20, but I'm not profitable, I'm just going to go ahead and turn it off. Okay, I'm going to go and adjust my people, my product, or my promotion. I'm going to go change something else. If I'm really close to being profitable, I'm going to go adjust something. If I'm way off, if my clicks are just so high, and I mean, just like there's no way it's going to be profitable if I change it. I could change a million different things and it's never going to be profitable. And again, you might only know that through experience. I'm just going to turn off my campaign. But the general rule is 2 times my profit margin. Okay. Now the question to ask yourself is, are you profitable? Okay. And if you're getting sales on day 1 or day 2, you want to ask, are you profitable? You're not profitable if you're not getting any sales. But if you are getting profitable or sales, then this is what you do. If I'm not profitable, then I'm going to adjust my offer. Typically my offer, my promotion, right? Because we already nailed down the product. We already nailed down the audience. So we're going to adjust the offer. Okay. That's the promotion aspect. If I am getting sales, well, I got to decide if it's worth it for me. Okay, so let's say I'm spending $10 let's say I'm spending $10 to get a conversion. My margins is $15. That means I'm making $5 per conversion because I have $10 cost, but my margins are 15, so I got a $5 profit. I have to ask myself, is it worth it for me? If I scale this campaign up, let's look at our audience size. Maybe our audience size is 100,000 people or 1 million, whatever your audience size. We started off with 2 million people, so we'll just assume it's 2 million people. Okay, we got an audience size of 2 million people, and we're making $5 per order or per sell. For a lot of people, I think that's really worth it. I think it is. I think that if you just scale up a little bit, you have a big enough audience to where if you sell enough of these, you could make a lot of money. If you sell 1,000 of them and you're making $5 a piece, that's $5,000 that you made, right? That's a pretty significant amount of money. A lot of people, that takes them a couple months to make that money, or some people, make it in a month, or some people make 3 times that in a month. And if you're one of those people where you're making $5,000, if your rent costs $5,000. Well, you probably need like $20,000 to survive. Making $5 extra here and there isn't really worth it to you, right? So that's where you have to decide. You have to look at your campaign. Do you need to make $100,000 a month to survive, to make this worth it for you, or do you only need to make $500 a month? Right? You decide that, and you're going to look at your profit, what you're making after ad spend. You're going to look at your audience size, and you're going to slowly scale up your campaign. I'm going to get into scaling in the more advanced campaign or more advanced training. There's so many different ways to scale. I can't even show you even one of them here because it's going to take so long to go over that. But let's just say that you slowly start to scale your budget. That's one way to do it. So you're spending $10 a day. Now you go to $15 a day or $20 a day. You slowly start to scale your budget. You're going to pay attention to your profit margins after ad spend or even your ad spend. You want to see how much it costs. If that cost per conversion goes up, then that $5 margin is going to get even smaller. And if that $5 margin gets even smaller to $2 or $3 or whatever it is, $1, then it's not going to even be worth it, right? It's definitely not going to be worth it. Okay, and so this same rule applies. You're going to ask yourself, are you profitable? If no, then go back and change your offer. If yes, is it worth it to you? Now I can't tell you if it's worth it to you. I don't know. I don't know what you want to make. So I can't give you a hard rule here. You're going to have to make that decision on your own. Okay. Now I've given you the important stuff. I've given you all of this is really what matters. It doesn't matter what kind of campaign you launch. Doesn't matter if you're a newbie or been doing this for 30 years. This rule applies. I do this exact same thing. I've been doing this for over 10 years now. I've started running Facebook ads, I think in like 2010 actually. Way back. I mean, way before anybody else was. I mean, they had banner ads. They had all kinds of stuff way back in the days. I've basically kept the same rule. Nothing's changed. I look at my cost per click, my cost per website visit, and then I look at my profitability. And that's all I care about. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about conversion rates. I don't care about conversion. Well, eventually I care about conversion rates because that helps me understand my numbers. But I don't understand about my click rates. I don't care about, comments or shares or I don't care about any of that stuff. None of that stuff matters. All that matters is how much does it cost to get me a visitor to my website, and how much does it cost me to get a sell, and how much profit do I have, and am I making money, right? That's all that matters, okay? We overcomplicate it sometimes by wanting to know all these details, but really it's just like, am I making money or not? If I'm not making money, then I turn it off and I adjust something. If I'm making money, then I decide if I want to scale it. Okay, now that was a lot of information to go over on one slide. It's really hard to really go over this without having campaigns to look back on. So you're going to want to get into the more advanced training. You want to get into a coaching program, have me look over your specific campaigns. That's where all that stuff comes into play, the more advanced stuff. I would say start here, start launching your campaigns and getting things going. And then let's just take it from there. All right. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. That's it. That's all. I'm not going to beat this dead horse anymore. We'll see you in the next training. We'll see you in the community. We'll see you making money on the other side. All right. See you guys later.